when was it deposited, does it relate to your alleged incident or not.
So this is what you were talking about much earlier, is that it isn't just, yes, such and such a person's DNA was there. The fact that you now know it's there actually gives you a whole load of other questions.
And what does that mean within the context of the case information? And there are other areas of forensic science that are being researched that perhaps aren't quite ready yet to be used in routine casework, but things that are being looked at. So things that spring to mind that I've spoken about recently are the ability to detect levels of drugs in people's fingerprints. Very sensitive test. It isn't something that's readily available yet. Also, tests that enable us to say how old a blood stain is, which is very useful, and they measure the surface tension of that stain and see how much it moves microscopically, because the older the stain is, the more kind of solid it becomes, the more it dries out, so it doesn't move as much. So that's something that's in development. There's another similar test that has the same aim, how old is the blood stain, that looks at how has the colour of that stain changed, and it's hoped that these are tests that can be built into a very easy to use device that can be used at crime scenes to try and give us an answer. But there are lots of factors that need to be investigated in the validation of those tests. So how do different environmental conditions affect those results? You're not going to have lab conditions at a crime scene, so what are the effects of those different conditions? So they're the things that jump to the forefront of my mind that I've found interesting.
Anything to add to those, Helen?
I think Sue's pretty much covered them. I mean, I think sort of an area where there's definitely sort of improvement is how it's not just the actual science and cutting edge technology, it's about how scientists go through a more scientifically rigorous process of actually assessing the significance of the evidence they've found. So it used to be very much sort of like, yes, we've found that, it sort of fits. But these days, there's a very rigorous process that scientists undergo to actually balance up all aspects and all information to come to a conclusion, which draws us back to the original comment that you made about the hair drug testing and sort of giving all the aspects of that evidence. And I think, you know, although the technology is advancing, and like you said about the touch DNA, there's a downside to things like that with, you know, you might be able to test microscopic amounts of DNA, but is that significant?
Yeah.
Does it really mean anything? Is it useful?
Okay, well, we're pretty much, I think, getting towards the end of the time. I'd like to thank you all for that. I've certainly taken away some very clear messages about that. We obviously all know that we're living in a time where resources are tight, but we know that we can probably do better, and it really is about better working together, better communication, less fragmentation, but also that issue of consistency around the country, and really looking to some of the good examples that we've got. And we've heard about good examples of the drug and alcohol courts in London, and some of the other things, particularly for women in science, around I'm a scientist, get me out of here. So hopefully from today's we have given lots of food for thought, both for professionals involved in childcare, but also for those who are looking at women in professions, and perhaps ways that we can make sure that women are better represented right across all of the professions to the benefit of us all. So thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.